So I think that today would be a good topic to discuss. Something that it's been on my mind for a while because of everything that's going on, and people are kind of like losing their focus on this quarantine thing and losing themselves and so on and so forth. And we all kind of like trying to figure out who are the uh, good people next to you and so on and so forth, without all those little things that you probably, I don't know, you're probably going to agree with me, but you're also looking for to see how you can relax yourself in the judgmental,
Right.
judgmental line. So how do you feel about being judged, or how much do you care about people's opinion, and where do you stand with that? Because I know majority time people are going through things like that when they're like younger, like a school peer pressure type of situation where poor kids are being either bullied, God forbid, or just being pressured for certain opinions that it's not theirs and stuff. But you probably agree with me that it's not just an adults, or not just the kids, or like young people that are going through this.
Mhm.
Adults going through that too, right?
For sure, for sure. I think this is a big subject, and I think it's something that a lot of people have difficulty with, is to not feel judged, or to really be, act in their own authentic self, and be able to express themselves the way that they want. Because I think, being brought up in a society where our validation depends, or how we define ourselves has become how others validate us, and people tend to lose a sense of who they are and feel that pressure to fit in and do what everybody else is doing, or the majority, just to like not be criticized or to be looked at as someone that's different. So, and it does take a lot of courage to stand up against the majority opinion, especially with this, with the virus quarantine going on. There's so many different opinions, and then people find it difficult to express their own, because there's majority of people going in one direction, another majority going in another direction. And just in life in general, just to be able to find that courage to be able to stand up and say who you are and what your likes are, and if you disagree, be okay with disagreeing with certain people, and to fully express the person that you are, is something that we're not really taught to be that way, even at a younger age. I think, our parents kind of like teach us to conform to society, and these are the rules, and how you need to behave in order for them to approve of you, or in order for teachers to approve of you. And so it becomes a conditioning, a programming that we have, to not do anything that goes against anyone else. So what happens is then we mute ourselves, and then, we don't really have the courage to express ourselves the way that we want to.
So here's an interesting subject that we probably want to cover. So going back to what you said, it's basically think of this, that we're an adults, but yet we are from maybe youth, or maybe something have happened in our lives and we changed the way that we see things and see people, right? So with that, we also kind of like framing ourselves. So kind of like what we can do, cannot do, and stuff like that, based on how people gonna judge us, how they gonna be seeing us and stuff, right? So like if I have a certain type of what's the word? There's
Mentality.
a word, not mentality, but like the way that you see me, right? So the way that I am and what I keep.
An image.
An image.
Yeah.
Okay, image. So if you see in my image this and that, and let's say, you know how they say that when people take a shot or they relax their body, then the image goes a little bit differently onto the left or the right.
Right.
Um,
Expectations come down, so you don't care as much what people are gonna.
right. So with all that, I always think to myself that I am probably one of those people that do care a bit what people say. Not everybody, but some people.
Right.
However, I've always been looking into my dad, and my dad my dad is a pretty smart guy and stuff. He did well for himself,
Hmm.
being immigrant and stuff. But I always, not judge him, but I always, when I was younger, I'm like, Dad, why do you have to collect everybody's opinion? Like, what the heck? Like, you're smart enough. You made so many right decisions in life. Just stick with your opinion and go for it, right? But as I got older, I realized that I think it's a very liberal and very smart, because now that I'm in business that I am,
Hmm.
it's really important for me to understand that I can actually be open-minded, such as, watch this, not set in your ways, right?
Right.
But yet ask people, be open to collect some opinions, yet you don't have to really go with their opinions, right? You can make your own decisions because you're an adult. You realize it, what's right or wrong, what's good and bad for you, blah blah blah. But yet it gives you an ideas that, let's say, my mind, I have a very specific type of mind, like everybody else do, but that my brain doesn't go to certain areas, right? But yet when I speak to somebody, even you, right, so I ask your opinion and say, hey, this is the situation, what would you do, or how would you handle it? And you give me your, and I look at it, oh wait, this is something that I didn't see.
Hmm.
So as you talk to other people and you collect other people's vision, or you collect other people's opinion, you can actually create a much stronger your own opinion, because you actually understood where you collected something that your brain doesn't go there, which I'm sure you're going to explain what it's called in 2 seconds. But now I realize that he's doing the right thing,
Hmm.
okay, by collecting that information and then making his own decisions.
Right.
I kind of like start doing this the same thing, and any kind of decision. I always even says to my husband, I said, listen, I'll give you my opinion because his mindset different, right? His
Right.
mindset is different. And I said, whatever it is that you find valuable, keep it. Whatever you don't like it or you don't agree, throw it away. Nothing personal about it,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So does that kind of like go hand in hand with the fact that you kind of like uh, people, you care about people opinion, or you kind of being judged and stuff like that? Does that all
No,
roll your
I
boat?
think your ideology, the way that you look at things, is a very healthy way. And what you're doing basically is you're gathering different perspectives, but you're not letting that gathering part of what you're doing defer you from actually forming your own opinions or forming your own viewpoints. So that's a very healthy mindset. There's nothing wrong with that. But then there are those that gather people's opinions and they think, okay, I have to go with the majority in order for me not to be judged, which stifles who
Mm,
they are. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and
mm-hmm.
that's not, something that that is, it goes against being human and being able to create and live life authentically. So, and that not to say that it's a bad way, because people are comfortable. Some people are comfortable doing that, and they don't ever want to go against the grain because they don't like to stand out. It's a personality thing. But if you are one of those people that wants to be expressive and be able to live life authentic to who you are, but are afraid of being judged, then that's something that can definitely be worked on and be helped and be overcome, basically.
How do you deal with that? How do you what is your structure of
Well,
being judged? How much do you care for that? Or do you collect other people's opinions, or you just go with your own?
I've always been the type that if someone tells me not to do something, uh, then, and if it's something that I want to do, it in a way it angers me, because not that I act on that anger, but it makes me think, you can't tell me how to live my life. This is me. I'm just one of those people that jumps out of my skin when someone tells me not to do something, because, I feel like no one has the right to tell me how to live my life or fit into anyone's standards. Even though I am in business and I do have a certain business image to uphold. And people have told me things like, because I'm a woman in construction, I've actually gone to construction sites and have had other people that I work with say, in the summer, well, maybe you should like wear a jacket, because there's construction workers here, or, not to, and, I'm like, I'm not changing myself the people that have the different viewpoints are the ones that need to change how they look at someone else. But I won't conform to fit into anyone else's standards. And if I have to conform according to a bunch of people, then I'm not being true to me. So, and not just that, but people that tell me, well, don't do that because how are other people going to look at you as far as a businesswoman? And I want to be looked at as a businesswoman that lives true to me, true to my standards, and those that will, approve of the fact that I'm just being me and authentic to me, then I will do business with them. And those that are going to be judgmental, then you know what? I don't need to do business with them. That's how I approach life. And I think a lot of the innovators in business have been the ones that have been true to themselves, and they've kind of gone against the grain. And those are the ones that have been considered leaders because they've had the courage to be who they are, be authentic to their desires, their dreams, their goals. Those are the innovators in our society that have, been basically true and authentic to who they are, and not have conformed.
So how do you I think that if you put together the fact that true to yourself, because I'm always true to myself. Like I don't have people change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I always go off what my experiences are. And if you ask me something, like any opinions or any advice or something,
Right.
I will never tell you something that I have not gone through myself. This is just who I am and how I believe in things. Like I can't tell you what to do, not to do, if I have not lived through this myself or have not experienced it. So talking about being true to yourself, I think to my mind, it's a different subject because I am true to myself always.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't change my mind, yet I am open to hear other people's opinion. I'm not appalled to that.
Yeah.
But yet I'm also thinking of judging me. So people judge you. So there are so much more haters out there than people that actually are nice and careful and so on and so forth. So I don't know if that relates to being true to yourself, authentic, or worry about people judging.
Well, you do have a strong personality like I do. So even though you do look at different perspectives, but at the end you end up doing what you want to do, basically. But what I'm saying is there are those that will listen and be afraid to still, like, true to yourself is still do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like if you gathered information and the majority said, no, Jana, don't do this because that's going to make you look bad. And you said, oh, maybe I shouldn't because, like the majority is telling me not to do it, then you're not being true to yourself, because then you're going against your own desire to actually do what it is that you wanted to do. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
So that's
how do you help? What would be a good way? For example, the worry about other people judging you and stopping yourself from doing certain things, right? So
I think the fundamental thing to understand is when people judge others, the main thing that they're doing is judging themselves, right? Because if you're a person that's filled with love, compassion, and confidence in yourself, you're never really going to judge anyone. You're going to look at people doing whatever they're doing as, wow, that person has guts to do what they want to do. As long as you're not hurting anyone, of course, and going, that's a different thing. But if people are just living and maybe they're dressed a little bit differently, or maybe they're dancing when they shouldn't be dancing, maybe they're going into a different line of business that no one else has gone into, they're trying something new, the people that are secure and confident and loving and supportive will not judge anybody else. You know what I mean? But the ones that feel like they just haven't done what they really wanted to do, and they have this negativity in their heart, they have this like inconsistencies and this stuff going on. So yeah, they're the ones that will judge you. So that's a fundamental understanding to have, because the people that judge are the ones that will not step out of the comfort zone, or will not step out to face the judgment of others either. So, they feel the safety of being in the majority. Does that make sense? So when you have that,
does.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, what I recently have noticed by talking to people. that so for example, the business I'm in, and the mission that I have for helping people to protect their assets and um, um, healthy retirement and so on and so forth. With all that, it's interesting because I really wanted to understand the mentality behind what people saying to me, right? So such as if I says that for somebody that I know, hey, do you really know how money works, for example, right? Do you really know how money works, and what is on your way from growth or from ability to get where you want to get with your money, right?
Right.
Majority people make that the response that I get back from them is really funky, because now I just realize that what it means. So when somebody says that either I do or I'm not interested or whatever else, especially the one who said I'm not interested, here's the interesting mentality. People who says I'm not interested, basically, they have such a high ego of actually allowing somebody to share some information that would benefit them, that they're saying that's nonsense. They're saying to you, you know what I'm saying? This is the response you get. They're like, oh please, or come on, this is nonsense. That's the response when somebody is absolutely closed down, not ready to experience any new information, not ready to do anything. They think their way is the right way. And that's where this is where it comes to play the
But are you letting
I,
that anger you? Are you letting that anger you? Because that if you're letting that anger you, then you're using a little bit of judgment too.
no,
No, no.
it's for me, it's not an anger. For me, I always get because I have a passion for people, because I care a lot for people. I always did. It's just something that I was born with. It just makes me I get a little bit of a I used to get a little bit upset for the fact that, did I say something incorrectly, or did I not make myself clear on what I'm trying to share with people? Because I always go back to myself. I never blame anybody else. This is not something, and I hate when people blaming other people, which is another subject too. How people love blaming others because they're just losers themselves. Um, but yet I realized it, and we talked about this too. It's because these people right now, it's not their priority on their mind. However, I will revisit them again, and I will make sure that somehow I'll get through them, because I know what I'm preaching is something that made myself and my family financially stable. So I know it does work. And also I know, and I see a lot by being my age, what happens out there in the world where you don't protect yourself and you don't actually, you're oblivious to that life happens sometimes. I see what happens with families, you know? So with all that, I don't get upset in saying it, oh my God, what a stupid person that is. God forbid.
No,
I
no.
just know this is not the right timing. But yet, in the beginning, I was upset. But I was upset at myself. I was getting a little bit like, what the heck? This is
Well,
just, you
yeah, I mean, I can
just
say
give
for
me
me,
some time.
I've learned so much because I've gone through this 10 to 12-year journey of learning how to like help heal the mind, heal the heart. Because
Yeah.
a long time ago, I was in a very bad state, mentally, emotionally, physically, but I was able to heal myself and bring myself into a place where I'm, very happy, very content, very, proud of the life that I've created. But, I can tell people how to do it or how the mind works and all this other things. But if they're not ready or they don't like my method, then it's not something that I can ever force upon them. It's, and I always think, well, people have their own journey and people have, different ways of looking at things. And maybe this is what they need to experience in their life. And who am I? If they ask me, of course, I will tell them. But if they don't, then they just have, that path to go on and maybe experience what they need to experience. And there is no one way of living. That's the thing. I think there's just so many different ways of living. And as if even if they're hurting themselves, maybe that's what they need to experience. And, I did actually, the funny thing is, even going to therapist, I went to a therapist and they were really good. They were really good at picking up, but my thing was, well, that's how you figured out how to live your life. I need to figure it out on my own. Do you know what I mean? So that was,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I started saying, okay, well, if they could respect me trying to figure it out on my own, then also I need to respect other people trying to figure it out on their own. And I think that should go in every profession, whether it is, you know, I don't know what it has to do with psychology, has to do with financial matters, has to do with anything else, even, you know, how you handle your health. You know, I think it should be left to the person and their own individual choices, you know, that they want to make in this lifetime. We
Absolutely.
can have all the best intentions, we really can. And it's funny, my daughter told me this, she was 13
Mm-hmm.
at this time, was, you know, I keep trying to help them because I know all these mind tricks, you know, and how to get yourself into this good place. And I kept trying to tell her, I know how to make you get out of this negative state. I know how to like help you feel better. And she turned to me and she said, you know what, Mom, you figured it out on your own. Now let me figure it out on my own. You know, and I think that was like a big thing that she told me. I said, all right, well, I'm here if you want to come to me and ask me, but I will, you know, give you that and let you figure it out, you know. So I think it's important to allow people to figure things out on their own if they want. If they come,
I,
all great.
I I agree with you. I do agree because it comes hand to hand with the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And other people have to get their own experiences, such as our kids and stuff like that, or everybody else. All the young people need to get their experience to come kind of like, yeah, let me figure it out. So with the figuring out, I will get the experience of it too. So I know for it better, or I will know better or differently next time.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: is when we're talking about the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that I actually used to be, not used to be, but I'm still a little bit helicopter mom, and I'm trying to really pull back more and more and more so my kids can get experience. But here's an interesting thing: is when you see there's something is gonna be something is happening in the sense of the child of yours is making decision, right, based on how they understand things,
Mm-hmm.
and you see that experience or that decision will probably, you know, what the outcome's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
You still don't want to take it away from the kids to experience it themselves, but when you know what the outcome, if this outcome will affect this child on the long term,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it's important for you to try somehow, I don't want to say word manipulate, but try to tell the child somehow without taking away from her or him what's the future's gonna look like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Such as like my older kid, right? They got the dog, and it's a huge dog, and I listen, I'm a dog person, so when you talk about dogs, any dog is the best thing ever happened to you. But I know this dog is, on the long run, is gonna kind of like give them a different um, uncomfortable life. They're gonna be hitting some of the challenges that not necessarily needed to go through the experience like that, because you can make it like easier versus tougher, right? So, but I wasn't hurt. I you know, not one word that I said or my opinion hasn't been heard, which is fine, because it's not a dead or life kind of situation, you know. But yet the future will tell us, and I'm sure the kid's going to be coming back and kind of probably asking for some sort of help or something somewhere. They're going to be making some unnecessary but necessary for the big dog decisions, meaning like maybe moving out of this apartment because it's too small, blah blah blah. The reason I'm telling you all this is because I think it's a kind of like not two-way street, but I think it has a part A, the part B, to yes, let the kids or let other people experiences and go through their own experiences. But then if I've gone through this and I know what it's going to look like, okay, I know what the book is going to finish like, and it's, you know, I think it's, I don't know, to my mind it's important to.
Okay, here's the thing though, it finished that way because of who you are and the decisions and your programming and decisions you made. So there could have been a different outcome from that too. Right? I mean, maybe them getting, just as an example, maybe them getting the dog, even though it might have been difficult, it might have been like living in an apartment, having a big dog, but then walking the dog because they had to, or the other aspects of having that dog would have been much more healing to them than not than, the negative consequence. So it may have benefited them a lot more, whereas you see the negative consequences as being more detrimental to their well-being, whereas they probably didn't see it that way, or it helped them maybe, direct their life in a certain direction. So what I'm saying is, at a certain point, we don't really have a right to interfere with people's karma or their destiny, or where their mindset wants to lead them. So that's, I mean, I look back even on my life where, when I was going to USC and I wanted to major in, psychology, and my parents talked me out of it. They said, there's no money in that. Why do that? You're going to make your life difficult. So, and I remember that very distinctly because, it was something that I was very interested in, obviously, because now it's like I've kind of geared and gone into that direction of knowing how the mind works. But, that's something that I look back and go, did they have a right to interfere in my path and my destiny? They, even though they had really good intentions because they had lived life, but they had lived life according to them, not according to me, and even like, I wanted to move out at a certain age and to experience life, live on my own. They didn't allow me to do that. So it became my mission to find a husband, get married, because that was the only way that I was going to be able to
get out.
move out. Yes. And
So many people have that
life, and I look back and go, you didn't have a right to do that either, because had I been able to do what I wanted to do, then maybe, I don't know. I'm not saying any of the decisions I made, I regret, but I'm just saying when people get in your way and they deter you from your path, then you look back and go, you didn't have a right to do that, then, and the fact that we listened and I listened to them, was I being true to myself? No, I wasn't, because I lived according to them, because I had fear. They were my parents. Maybe they know better than me, or I was afraid of, them getting not approving of me, getting mad at me, and all that. So, and because of the conditioning, because of how I had been conditioned at a younger age.
But you're talking about big thing. You're talking about this major thing, and I can relate to you because in my culture the same thing. We kind of direct kids where we see them being better off financially and so forth. So yes, and then they're being rebellious afterwards. Yes, absolutely, all of that stuff. But I'm talking about, like I mentioned, I'm talking about not like a major, like a decision, or major like a life or death kind of decision. I'm talking about something that we want the best for the kids, right? So we want to.
The dog isn't like that big of a decision. I mean,
it's huge. The dog is a Great Dane. So yes, you can definitely have a dog, but why don't you take like a smaller dog? Why don't you take something medium sized? Why don't like it's just, I don't know. I mean, if you dream about this type of dog, absolutely. I listen. I'm not the one who's going to be taking care of it. I'm not the one who's going to be. Being the mother of the dog, no, God forbid. But at the same token, it's like I know based on experience what it's gonna look like. But yet, you want to have your own experience.
Totally, like have told them the same thing that you did, because my mind works that way too. I'm just saying, like, I think at a certain point, people just have to do because that's how we build confidence too. Is by living life on our own and saying, hey, I did that. Even if it was a mistake, going, okay, what did I learn from that? And, am I going to do things differently now? Because this is my building upon, my life building one at a time and becoming the person that I am, and looking back and saying, hey, I fell at that time, but I got up even stronger. Those are all the things that enable us to develop self-confidence, self-worth, and going through challenges. And again, that brings us back to the whole discussion. What we started off in the beginning is how do you have the courage to stand up against, judgment, being able to express yourself the way you want to. And it's the process of building confidence throughout your life.
So what's a process? What's the process of, so I can do what you do is I can open my own TikTok account and start dancing.
Yeah, see, when I started doing that, everyone was like, what are you doing? And should you be doing that? And I was like, you know what? That makes me so happy and I enjoy it and I laugh, and why not? And everyone was like, we might want to stay away from you. I was like, go for it, stay away. But, but it didn't stop me. So I'm doing even more dances, and I'm posting it, and because it brings a smile to my face. And I think, how is that wrong? It feels right to me. So I'm going to do what feels right to me, what feels good to my heart. What makes my heart become bigger and not constricted. When I listen to other people's opinion and it's not in line with who I am, that constricts my heart. Anything that makes me feel small or judged or powerless, guess what? That's not in accordance or aligned with my true self, my true.
So I get that. You're the free soul and so on and so forth, and you're able to do this and this and that. I get that. It's not the same here, especially you have the same type of culture that I do. And with us, I want to say that I have learned a lot how to resist or block the other people's judgment and stuff. I don't hear it. I'm not interested of listening to it at all. But yet it's all about judging, and it's all about being judged, and it's all about the judgment is like an air these days. Like you can't live without it. Like, we have to judge others, we have to blame others, we have to do this and that, and that's what the culture brings. And if that works for other people, awesome. For me, it's like, I don't want to take every day a shot of vodka to relax my body if I want to do something, because if I have a shot or two, the ocean is probably, I'm going to be able to walk on it, but that judgment, how do you start? How do you help people to like completely isolate yourself from this stuff?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to be completely isolate, but it's little steps that you take every day,
Okay.
And it will be difficult the first time you do it. The first time that you do something where you feel like you're going to be judged. But then you think, okay, how am I going to feel if I don't do it? Am I going to feel like I didn't do it because I was afraid? It's always fear versus abundance mentality or love mentality. It's, if you do it for the wrong reason, then there's going to be like this ding on your heart. I didn't do it because of other people, because I was afraid, because I was, I felt powerless, basically. But and you have to fight that, because that is just conditioning. I always go back to little kids, little babies. When they're born, they're so full of the source that we come from, and they know no fear, they know no judgment, and everything that they do is just based according to who they are, to fun, to living life fully,
Mm-hmm.
And only it's the adults that teach them, limitation and judgment and feeling bad and all that stuff. So it's like, if you can, and if you can align with the source within you, which says that you're powerful, you are creative, you can do anything that you want. And when you do it the first time and you see, okay, it wasn't that bad. And the ones that judge me, they don't really need to be in my life, because why would you want to be around people that judge? Again, going back to that understanding of who they are. If they were truly happy, competent, fulfilled people, they would never judge you in the first place, right? So having that understanding. And if they do judge, is this the reason that's going to make them go out from my life? Yeah. Ooh, check mark for me. That's a good thing. That's always a plus, right? Then you don't even have to worry about it the next time.
Got it.
Yeah, right. And what will happen gradually is you'll start attracting people that are more abundant in their mindset, that are more loving, that are more accepting, because they'll see you as that type of person. So they'll want to be around, it's kind of like, love attracts love, or abundant people attract abundant people. The negative people always attract each other because they want to sit around and bitch and complain and judge other people. So, it's, if that's not who you want to be. So do things that go against their grain, so that they do actually go away from your life. And there might become a time where you only have maybe 1 or 2 friends, but hey, that's not a bad thing either, because they'll be the real authentic friends.
It's not.
And
it's
that will multiply in itself, and you'll start attracting people that are better for you. But here's the thing though, when you look back, and even if you did things that later you look back and go, oh, that was kind of dumb. But you know what? You did it. And that in itself will make you proud of yourself. You'll be like, I didn't listen to other people. I did it. So what? And even if I look like a fool, oh, well, does everybody else have the courage to look like a fool? No. So, hey, that's a check mark for me still, you know?
Yeah.
And not being ashamed of yourself, because we're here to live life. We're here to enjoy, to fall if we're going to get up, you know,
True.
even stronger. So
I just think it's a great subject. I think it's just like everything else in life. It's a process. It's a process of little steps that creates a bigger step, that creates a small picture, and it creates a larger picture, and you see a bigger picture, and so on and so forth. But I think it's a definitely a step that everybody. And listen, you might not have a best friend in your life who you can call and chit chat about it. You know, you might not have a friend that you might trust with all that information or get their opinion and so on and so forth. I think that you, as long as you have yourself, this is huge. One really old friend of mine taught me how to be with yourself. Because I always were with others, or I was always about others and stuff like that. But it's not bad to be with yourself. It's not bad to listen to yourself, talk to yourself internally. You know, it's really not bad, because you is who you make yourself happy.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I would say you are the center of your universe. It's you.
Yes.
Right?
It really is. It's not about being selfish.
You are the success you want to create. You are the abundance you want to create. And it's never about, let's say you want to feel like you have everything. It's you have to feel abundant within yourself.
Yeah.
You know? And it's never about the amount of money you have in your bank account. It's never about the amount of friends that you have. It's never anything like that. It's who you are internally, you know, who you work to be, who you strive to be at all times. That's you know, what creates happiness. That's what creates self-fulfillment, self-worth, self-love, is being proud of who you're becoming every single day. And waking up in the morning saying, what's the best version that I can become of me? You know, what's what can I do today to make myself proud? And it's not, and we're not going to make ourselves proud every single day. No. But at the end of the day, knowing at least you try, or being able to forgive yourself even if you did make mistakes. I mean,
so
go ahead.
In your what?
My biggest thing that I always wrestle myself with is, you know, with my kids, like maybe getting mad at them too much or whatever. But I always go, you know what, you guys, sorry, you know, I shouldn't have said that, or being true, being, you know, truthful with them. And, you know, at the end of the day, forgiving myself, forgiving them, and finding that peace and love in your heart to be able to sleep well at nights. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God.
And then
so for sure.
Tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit better because I learned a little bit today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. So today, I think it's if everybody will just sit down and think about this for a few minutes, that's going to be a first step to all of that. It's just a little analyzation of who you are, how you react to things, how you react to people, what you do, you don't do, or maybe analyze somebody gave you some feedback, which it's another subject, how to take a feedback and not be angry at that. I think it's a first step for everybody. Just sit down and think about yourself, right?
Yes, definitely.
We're gonna leave that with people, and we're gonna hope that somebody will listen.
If you and you know, I want to finish off by saying, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. And you know, comment if there's other topics that you would like to hear about. We're here to discuss anything that would be of interest. So thank you for taking the time. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.